Okay, we're good.
Okay, awesome. So we're so excited to have Emily talking on our call. Emily is a total rock star. She is a Success Club 10 all-star, I think, and she's a diamond coach. A couple months ago, she actually quit her corporate job as a social media manager to become a full-time coach. She is just incredible. What I love most about Emily is that she's super vulnerable on social media. She shares with a huge heart. She cares so much for her challengers and her coaches. Obviously, she is a Success Club rock star, and she is here to share with us all of her strategies and tips. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Emily.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me tonight. I'm really excited to kind of share with you about social media, some tips and tricks for branding yourself as a coach, because I know as a coach, we tend to kind of view ourselves as Beachbody. So before I start talking, if you guys could put yourself on mute, that would be great. I have like squirrel syndrome, so I tend to get distracted. If I hear a noise, I go the other direction. So just put yourself on mute if you haven't already. Okay, so what I want to talk to you tonight about is finding your true self on social media. Who are you? Okay, so apart from body, apart from whoever has, can you mute? Sorry. I don't know.
Sorry, Laura, you might be able to mute oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
Good.
We're good.
Okay, sorry guys. Okay, sorry. I told you, squirrel syndrome for reals. Okay. So.
Oh wait, sorry, one more time. RC, do you mind muting yourself? It might be a little confusing on your phone.
I know. I thought I was.
There we go.
Okay, cool. So to get back to my point, it's this. Okay, so I want to take a second and kind of think about who were you before you found Beachbody. So I know, like I mentioned, when we join Beachbody, we start to think of ourselves as Beachbody. And we start to think of ourselves as the product, which that's okay because these products have helped us on our journey and we want to share those with other people. But as a new coach or someone who's starting a business, we tend to want to hide behind a product. But it's time to stop hiding behind a product and start being your real self, because that's what's going to attract people to you. When you showcase who you are, that's when people understand why you joined this business, why you're a coach, why you want to help people, and how these products have changed your life. So when we think about how we became coaches, we think about the things that attracted us to this business. I know for me, I felt like I needed to share this opportunity with other women who were struggling with anxiety and depression. So what attracted you to this business? If you can take a second and write it down on a piece of paper, I'm going to help you tonight to find what your target audience is. Okay, so you now have written down kind of the things that have attracted you to this business and what makes it unique for you. Now, I want you to not think about social media as this really scary bear that you need to attack. You need to break it down for yourself into segments and stories. So for me, I use a method called jab, jab, right hook. What that is it's little jabs that lead up to the big hook, which is your call to action post. So when you're planning out your posts or thinking about what you want to talk about for the week, think about it holistically. So if you're planning out your calendar for the month of May, for me, I'm just going to use myself as an example because I don't know anyone else's business. But for me, at the first of the month, I have a free group that I run. At the 15th of the month, I have my challenge group that I run. And at the end of the month, I am promoting my next coach mentorship, which always starts on the 2nd of every month. So it's very to a point. So I always know what I'm talking about. So if you go to my social media today, you will see that it's very organized in that way. So these little jabs that I'm talking about are things in relation to what you're promoting. So for example, if I'm promoting a free group, then those little jabs that I'm using for a story are going to be things relating to my free group. For example, this week I did a virtual spa party that was a free group. So leading up to this free group, I shared tips and tricks for relaxing. So I came up with a foot spa pedicure thing, and I posted about it. So like every day I was posting about something in relation to that. When I got to my big hook, my audience already saw that coming across their newsfeed. So they were already interested in what I was talking about. So that's how you need to think about what it is that you're selling and promoting. Do not sell a product because you are not a product. You are a person. So if you are selling a coaching opportunity and a coach mentorship, then you need to sell this experience. That's why I had you write down what coaching is and what it means to you, because that is your story. That is what's going to attract people into your tribe. Okay? So for me, I have a really big story. I have overcome anxiety. I've overcome depression. I have gotten myself out of $5,000 worth of debt with coaching. So these are things I talk about in segments in relation to my jabs. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. I hope I'm not moving too fast. Let me know if I'm confusing anyone. So in relation to these jabs, when I am talking about my story, I share it over time. I'm not sharing it in one big chunk of information so people don't get distracted or freak out because there's so much overwhelm. And you have to remember also, I hear a lot of coaches tell me, Emily, I don't want to post that much to my social media. But here's the thing, not everyone's watching you like you're watching you, okay? I promise you that. I don't see half of anyone on this screen all the time. And if I do, it's because I'm seeking it out. And people will start to seek you out. If you're not getting likes, don't measure it off that. If you're not getting comments, don't measure it off that. In your story and being vulnerable. I have gotten so many messages where people reach out to me and say, Emily, because of you, I have started to focus on my mental attitude. Or, Emily, I wanted to thank you for sharing your story about your struggle with your weight because it got me thinking I needed to start taking care of myself. So even if I didn't necessarily sell that person a product, they know because I add value to their life. So that's the next part of my content here. So first of all is planning out your content and creating mini stories within the big story. So take that thing that I had you write down tonight and break it up into mini jab, right hooks. And then share it over time in a way where people can follow. And once you hook them in, they understand what it is that you're hooking them into. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Now, the second part of what I was going to say is, I lost my train of thought, sorry. The second part of what I was saying is when you're planning out your content, plan it out in a way that works for you. So you don't have to follow my way of doing it by any means. If you're not at the point where you're running a free group or you're not at the point where you're running a challenge group or a coach mentorship, that's okay. Do what you are doing right now and make it work for you. So I know that for me, when I first started coaching, I was focused really on my transformation, which is fine. But use that transformation in segments and break it up into stories that people can follow. So now the second part of what I wanted to share is the importance of finding your niche audience. Okay, so when you're talking on social media, it can be really overwhelming because you start wanting to talk to everyone, because that's kind of what we have done, right? Previously. But now I want you to start talking to your audience. Who is that person who is like you? Okay, so for me, I just write down a couple of traits of people that I want to connect to. So right now, can I just take a second and have you guys write down some things that you want to connect with people on? Who is it that you would want in your organization? What kind of a person is it that you're talking to? What are their interests? Why would they be interested in what you're doing? Just take a second and write that down. All right. Okay. So now you kind of have an idea of who it is that you're trying to talk to. So for me, I talk to women who know that they are made for more. They are people who do not want to sit at a 9-to-5 job. They are people who have always wanted to travel but never had money to do so. They are people who knew that a 9-to-5 job, sitting at a cubicle, looking out their window, that is not their life. So for me, you will see that across my stories. So take this persona that you have right now and use that across your stories. So like I said, when we plan out our months, we're looking at it in like mine. I'm just using mine as an example. You don't have to do it this way. Just using it. Free group, then challenge group, then coach mentorship. Same theme across all, okay? I'm always talking to that girl. That's who you need to be talking to always. You do not want everyone in your business, because when you start attracting everyone in your business, that is when you lose sight of who you are, okay? It is really important to be super specific about who you want in your business. I learned this the hard way when I first started coaching. I wanted everyone and anyone who would say yes. And I know how that feels as a new coach. You just want whoever. You're like, I'll take anyone, you know? And that is a scary slope, because then you're really not finding your tribe, as we like to call them, right? So be super specific. And I wish I would have implemented this sooner in my business, because now I do attract that person that I want into my business. So even if you're running a free group, you are still catering your message to that girl or to that man or whoever it is that you want in your business. So I know for me, for my virtual spa week, the whole idea was, hey, you're busy. You're a busy girl. You work 9 to 5. You hang out with your friends on the weekend. You are just trying to catch up with everything in your life. Take some time for you. That was the whole idea behind it. And that spoke to that audience really well. The next part of my, the challenge group is, hey, I know that you're busy. Like, you're a busy girl. You don't have time for anything. Like, let's do this in 30 minutes a day and let's get healthy and fit. Then my coach mentorship is, hey, I know you're sitting there looking outside thinking, is this it? Like, looking at your 9 to 5 job at your cubicle thinking, I want out there, but why is this my life? Okay. And you should evoke emotion within your audience. Even if it's not a like or a comment, it will come back, I promise. I had like 3 coaches one month sign up, and they didn't even tell me they were signing up because I was so on point with my messaging that it will happen and people will come to you. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So now you know how to plan your content, you know who your niche audience is. Now, how in the heck do you brand yourself, right? Like there's this like so crazy because there's this other part of it where it's like a branding aspect. So, okay, so let's talk about branding. So when we talk about branding, think about who it is in your audience. Who is that person that you wrote down on your piece of paper? What is it that they like? Do they like hiking? Do they like being outdoors? Do they like traveling? Do they like going out to new restaurants? Like, what is it that intrigues them? So, for example, for me, my persona or the person I want in my business is basically me, right? So it's like someone who likes hanging out with their friends, they like food, but they also know that they need to maintain a healthy lifestyle. They want to travel, like a lot. They have really bad wanderlust, and they're someone who knows that they are made for more. So in all of my pictures, in all of my messaging, like if I have, let's say, text on a picture, it's going to be something in relation to that girl. So, for example, I just went to California, and when I was in California, I got to do that because I do not work a 9-to-5 job. And I knew that this was an opportunity for me to speak to that audience a lot because these girls, like me, do not want to sit at their desk. They want to be going to California to see their friends. So when I'm with my girlfriends in California, I am sure to weave in my story about where I was, where I am, and how I got there so that they can relate to that story. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So in your brand, like I use a lot of imagery. I'm sure everyone here does, but your brand, again, is not Beachbody, believe it or not. Your brand is not a picture of 21 Day Fix and Shakeology and Shaun T and Autumn Calabrese, okay? That is not your brand. That is Beachbody. They do a fine job at marketing themselves. You don't need to do it for them. You need to market yourself. So what makes you unique? Are you going on hikes? Are you going on vacations? Are you working your business from like after work so that you don't have to sit at a 9-to-5 job? These are things you need to take pictures of. If you look at my Facebook now, when I first, like before I even quit my job, I used to post pictures of myself at like 5 a.m. working because I was like, I have a vision. Okay. And that is like, it's so real to me that I'm working before work because this is so important to me. And that is what you need to do. Even if you're not that girl right now, you're working on becoming her. And you need to show that girl that that is what you're working on. And that's your brand. It doesn't need to be any crazy font. It doesn't need to be any crazy colors. It needs to be you, where you are right now. And eventually, of course, your brand will evolve because as you go throughout coaching, everything evolves, right? Just like our why. Our why starts here and it evolves way past that we could ever think because that's a journey and people want to be taken on a journey. So when you're sharing your story and what it is that makes you unique, be sure to dig deep, look at what you wrote down tonight, at that persona, look at who your audience is, and look at what they need. What need can you fill for them? That is what you need to think. So for me, busy people, busy girls who are, want to eat, want to have fun, but they also know they need to focus on being nutritious. They know that they want to go out with their girlfriends. So how can I fill that need for them? I can offer them these quick workouts. I can cater my messaging to say, hey, look, I was there where you are. I was 25 pounds overweight. I totally lost myself in that. And I can relate it back to them. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So that is kind of the whole thing that I wanted to talk about tonight, and just being an authentic person rather than who you think you need to be, because you do not need to be anyone but yourself. And I promise you, when you are yourself on your social profiles, that's when the magic happens. I promise, I promise, I promise. Don't look at other coaches. Don't look at what anyone else is doing. Think about what makes you unique and go back to that reason you started this journey and start talking to that girl that started this journey. I talk to that girl all the time because she needs someone like me. All right. Does anyone have questions? I hope that was okay.
No, that was an amazing call. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Now's the time to ask Emily. No, nothing? I don't have anything because it was such a good call. So, all right. I guess that's it.
Yeah, I just wanted to leave like a little bit of time so if anyone had questions, we could answer them. But that was really it. And just be you, you know, because that's honestly all that you have to be to make this business work. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you.
All right. See y'all soon.
Oh, wait, can I get a picture? Sorry, can I get a picture?
Yeah.